You've been wonderful. What did I ever do to deserve such devotion?
That's the wrong question to ask, Iris.
Yes, I guess it is. I've been so terribly lucky. I don't deserve your affection and understanding. All I've ever done is abuse you and lash out at you. But Brian, this time I think I really have changed.
Yes, you have. It shows. I'm glad I came. I had my doubts when Alex Wheeler called and you came on the line.
Oh, Alex. I have to think of some way to apologize to him, to tell him all the things we've talked about.
Well, would it make it any easier if I told him?
No, I couldn't ask you to do that.
You couldn't ask it, but I could offer. All right, then. It's settled. On my way to the airport, I'll stop by the World Building and tell him what you've decided. Goodbye, Iris.
Brian, I'll never forget how understanding and loving you are.
Some storm.
Don't you love the cool wind that blows right before a rainstorm? Then the heat builds up. And then it's gone like magic.
Uh-huh. Magic.
Well, how'd you like your tour of the ranch?
I think it was terrific. Here, let me handle that, huh?
Are you about ready to run back to the house?
Sure. Oh, rain's starting. Woo! Looks like it's gonna be a real, what do you call it, a gutter washer?
A gully washer.
That's right, gully wash. Oh, I sure hope it doesn't wash any gullies. I've got to drive back to Houston.
Oh, do you have to leave so soon, Lloyd? Well, I mean, the roads really don't wash away anymore. But you might have a little trouble seeing driving back.
Now that you mention it, Stryker didn't say I had to be back so soon.
Well, then why don't you cash in on that rain check? Kate did invite you, I heard her. You stay. You're not too bored by my company.
I don't think I could ever be bored with your company. I'd love to stay for supper.
Good. Why don't I just hang these up and I'll be back in a minute, okay?
Okay. I can wait. Yes, ma'am. Just lead the way. Okay. You look like something that just dragged in from the swamp.
Don and I just got back from the auction in Houston.
Houston? Yeah, I'm on my way into town now. I'm gonna stay the night with Terry and then make mincemeat out of a lot of city boys with more horsepower than brains. Wanna come on with me?
No.
Why not?
Got other things to do.
I never thought I'd hear you say anything was more important than a race. Hey, where'd you get that? It's a 30-30 carbine. It's an old one, too, at that.
It's seen some use, all right. It belonged to my daddy and his daddy before that.
That's the rifle?
Yeah. That's the one he used to kill himself.
Hey, Just, I don't know what you're thinking, but...
The marshals who first came to Texas, that's all they had. It was a bedroll, a rifle, and a sense of justice.
Yeah, but they were 500 miles from any court. They had to make their own laws.
I didn't say anything about the law. I was just talking about justice. What am I saying this to you for? You're a peace officer.
Yeah, sure, Justin. I keep the peace. Somebody breaks the law, I haul them in. Doesn't matter who they are.
Even if they're living by another law? Not one written down in the books, but written in blood. In the blood of their fathers, their family.
You mean a blood feud that went out with the frontier?
The frontier isn't gone, Ricky. It's expanded. You know what they say about...
You're talking
frontier
crazy, Justin. Look, don't go off the deep end. I don't want to get a call telling me to pick up Justin Marshall.
The only way you'll ever get a call like that is if I'm broken down somewhere on the highway to Houston.
I mean it, Just.
I don't lie, kid. Hey. I didn't tell you, did I? I got a job. You know, Rena set me up with Vicki Bellman. Wait till you see me at KBIK-TV.
When you'll be going into Houston. Look, why don't you let me give you a lift? I think maybe we need to do some talking.
Nah. I've done all the talking I'm going to do. I got to pack and say goodbye to Ginny and Grandma. Hey. Good luck with your race. You make it meet your dust.
Yeah, sure, Jess.
You teach him respect for the law, kid. And I'll teach Wheeler respect for mine.
Marshal? I think maybe there's a way of satisfying everyone concerned. My uncle and all the Marshals.
Dawn, you're soaking wet. Now you get on upstairs and get in some dry clothes.
That's all I have left, isn't it, Grandma? Some clothes. They took everything else.
What are you talking about? Here, let me get this off of you.
The auction, Grandma. They sold everything. Everything Daddy and I ever had. And now I guess you want the house, too, don't you?
Dawn!
I thought all the vultures had gone. There are only the bones left to pick. But I guess you want those, too.
Dawn, Mr. Connor's a guest in our house.
I'm sorry.
Dawn, he's come to talk to us about a very generous offer.
No. No, I won't talk about it. Not tonight. All day long they have been carrying away pieces of my life. Well, not anymore. Not now. Please, just not now.
I better go.
I'm sorry, Mr. Connor. Dawn weren't so upset, I'd give her a good talking to.
Ryan, it's not Dawn. It's just her grief.
Of course, I understand that. I should have waited. Well, maybe some other time. Can I, get a rain check on top of a rain check?
Of course you can. You're welcome here anytime.
Thanks, Jim. Hey, I'll see you later, Big Steve.
Bye, Mr. Connor.
Bye. Bye, Mrs. Marshall.
Come on, Mr. Connor.
I'll see you, Ginny.
Bye, Ryan.
Jenny, my girl, that's one fine young man.
I think you're right.
You sure are, Grandma.
Here's to life, to youth.
To the dreams of youth.
You know, I really envy you, Alex.
You mean, for all this? Don't let it fool you. Without those dreams, it would all be hollow.
No, I wasn't talking about your wealth, your power. I've been around a long time. I've seen what those things can do and what they can't.
Well, then what is it you envy?
I envy that shake in your hand. The feeling in your gut that if you don't win this special prize, everything else will cease to matter. I haven't had that feeling in a long, long time.
I didn't realize it showed so much.
It's as clear and as large as that Texas sky out there. You do love her, don't you? You love Iris as deep and as strong as you did all those years ago.
Yes, Iris is my being. Without her, without that dream of her, I think I would have stopped existing. I guess I didn't realize that dream was too much to hope for now.
Well, I wouldn't give up hope, Alex.
Well, did Iris?
I wouldn't rush it. Iris has reservations and fears. But, yes, she's accepted the final divorce decree. She told me to have all of her financial and personal affairs transferred to Houston.
Oh, Lord. It's true. At last. My life, our lives to begin again.
Yes, it's true.
I didn't think it would ever happen.
Well, anywhere else it probably couldn't. But as everyone keeps telling me, this is Texas.
Thank you, Brian. I can't tell you how much this means to me.
I have an idea. I'm just glad that Iris has a chance at real and lasting happiness. And to do whatever I can to help it along.
I'll make her happy, Brian, believe me.
I'm sure you'll do everything in your power to make her happy. But a word of warning, if I may. Don't rush her. Not until you both learn how to handle this new world you find yourselves in.
I won't. I'll try not to.
I'm sure you will. Well, I better get going. I'll miss my flight.
All right.
Good luck to you, Alex.
Thank you. Soon, Iris. We'll be together soon. It's real. Oh, Lord. You can go back. You can recapture the years.
Well, you know how glad I am to hear that you and Dennis are all right, but when are you coming back to Bay City? When I got your call that your plane had turned back and that you're going to stay in Houston a little while longer, well, frankly, I was a little worried. I didn't know what's going on, darling.
Daddy, I'm not coming home.
Iris, I think we must have a bad connection. I thought I heard you say that you weren't coming back to Bay City.
That's right. That's what I said.
What is it, honey? It's not Dennis, is it? Don't you think it's time for you to let go of him? Let him live his own life.
No, Daddy, it's not Dennis. Not this time. It's a long story. I met someone I knew a long time ago. I never told you about him because, well, the joy he brought me was mixed with so much sorrow.
Well, and this person, he's still important to you?
In a way, the only man who's ever been important to me, except you, is Alex.
Alex?
Alexander Wheeler. Oh, Daddy, so much has happened. I just can't tell you all about it. Not in a phone call, but... Daddy, he's loved me for 25 years.
I can certainly hear something wonderful in your voice. What about you, now? Do you mean to tell me that you've loved him for all that time, too?
Yes, I think I have.
Well, darling, I don't know what to say. I do want you to be happy, but...
But you don't know anything about Alex. I know. Sometimes I feel I've known him always, and sometimes that he's a total stranger.
Iris, this sounds very chancy.
Yes, it is. It's the greatest risk of my life. I think I must be mad to do this, and then I think I would be mad not to.
Darling, you know how much I want your happiness. And despite all the differences that we've had, goodness knows we've had enough of them. And however much space there is between us right now or ever will be, there's a space in my heart that's reserved just for my love of you. But, sweetheart, please be careful. It sounds like that maybe for once you're getting into something over your head.
I know. I won't rush, I promise. I love you, Daddy.
I love you, honey.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
That was Mac?
Yeah. I was just telling him that Brian came in today. You know, before I talked to Brian, I didn't know whether I should stay in Houston or go back to Bay City.
And now you know?
Yes. He brought me the final divorce papers, and He gave me a great gift, Rena. He convinced me to try to find a new life with Alex. Or rather, the life I should have had from the beginning.
So you've really decided to stay here in Houston?
Yes. Well, I must say you don't sound very enthusiastic. I thought you were wildly in favor of my running off with the romantic Alex Wheeler.
Sure. Just don't want to see you get hurt, that's all.
Oh, I'm sure I won't be. Not this time. I'm about to reach out and take the life I've always wanted with Alex.
I was just up in your bedroom and I saw your suitcase packed. You planning a trip? Back to Europe?
No, ma'am. Not so far.
Well,
Just into town. Just a little ways out of your sight.
I'd hoped you'd gotten all that out of your system.
I've gotten the whiskey out of my system. I've been sober long enough to get ashamed of myself. Sitting on my duff, eating off your table, not bringing in a dime.
That table belongs to the Marshalls and the Deckers. Good times and bad.
Honey, don't you think I know that? But I've got things to do.
You've still got it on your mind, haven't you?
What's that, Grandma?
Alex Wheeler.
Yes. Yes, ma'am, I do. It's like the sun. It'll always be there. Laughing or crying, winning or losing. It'll be there until...
I don't like that. No, I don't like that a bit. Do you hear?
I know.
You reckon to shame me? Are you saying I'd stand by my son's grave and not curse the man that killed him?
No, ma'am, but...
Now listen. I want you to get your mind straight on this. Your daddy took it upon himself to end his life. He wasn't forced. He wasn't pushed. He wasn't in pain. He wasn't alone 200 miles from anywhere and alone and snake-bit. He just lost his nerve. And he destroyed himself.
No. That's not so. That rot, no good.
Now, don't you raise your voice to me. And don't you keep trying to put the best face on a bad thing.
My father,
was cornered. Wheeler wouldn't let him draw breath. He had no place to turn. And he was tired.
Your father had been tired for 20 years. How could a man draw breath in that city? Well, he was cornered. From the day he rode in and found himself a tailor who'd make him a suit like they wore in New York. He drove himself for nothing. The things a smart man wouldn't even bother to refuse. Money, big house, place in Houston. He liked that box at the Astrodome. He liked waiters knowing his name. Did you know that? He really liked all those things. God rest his soul.
You're not going to change my mind, Grandma. You know that, don't you?
It's not my duty to change your mind, boy. I never had much luck with your father, or your grandfather either. But it is my Christian duty to tell you that you're wrong. If you fixed your mind on killing Alex Wheeler.
I can take care of myself, Grandma.
Not if you're fixing to do wrong. Now, there's no guilt in that man, Wheeler. So Daddy's home now. Let him rest in peace.
Grandma, I dream about it. Wondering why I've waited. I know you're tired. I know this isn't your fight. But I see what Wheeler did. He is going to pay.
You see. Who gave you God's eyes? If I thought your daddy had been done dirty, and the law wouldn't see to it. You think I'd have waited around here for you to sober up and stop grieving? No, whatever you have in mind would already have been done. I'm not tired. Just old. Now, there's not so much to being old. If you've kept your eyes open, you're bound to have learned a little something.
I guess I'll have to learn my own way, Grandma.
I guess you will. All the Marshalls have. You know, old as I am, I've never figured out how I let myself get mixed up with the Marshalls. All of Texas to pick from when I was a girl. And I ended up with Marshalls.
You could have done worse.
Well, we'll see about that. I'll say later. When you've got hold of yourself and stopped this revenge business.
It's time to go, honey. Max is taking me in. I'll see you soon.
I'll count on that. And Justin.
Yes, ma'am.
Do right. Think it through. Do justice.
Yes, ma'am. That's what I'm going to do. Justice.
Hey, sis.
Ricky! Oh, what are you doing in the big city?
Well, I came up for the Harris County stock car races, and I thought maybe you could put me up for the evening so I could go in rested.
I guess I can. What in the world are you looking for?
The ball and chain. You do know it's supper time.
Yes, I do. But sometimes the boss forgets. Hey, how about my treating you to dinner? I think it's about time some of the family met a special friend of mine.
Oh?
Mm-hmm. I'll call Clipper.
Not Clipper Curtis, the halfback for the Oilers.
Former halfback. He doesn't play anymore. He runs the Top of the World Club now. He's really terrific, Ricky. He's...
Terry, will you come in here for a minute, please?
Sure. Uh-oh. That means more work. Come on. Help me unlock that ball and chain.
Terry, will you make a list of interior decorators for me?
Can that wait till tomorrow, Alex? My brother's here, and I'd like to show him around a little.
Oh, of course, Terry. You must be Ricky, right?
Yes, sir. My sister's been telling you tales about me.
Oh, yeah, all good ones. I'm glad to meet you.
Glad to meet you too, sir. But we have sort of met before. At Mike Marshall's funeral.
Oh, of course, the deputy sheriff. I didn't recognize you out of uniform. I want to thank you for helping me.
That's quite all right. The county pays me to keep order.
Now, it goes beyond that. The Deckers and the Marshalls are very close, and I just want you to know that I regret what happened at the ranch. I only wish I could say that to Justin and that he'd believe me.
If I were you, sir, I wouldn't get close enough to Justin Marshall to say anything.
Is Justin still nursing a grudge?
Well, the only thing he kept back from the sale of his daddy's things was the rifle Mike shot himself with. I don't think he kept it for sentiment.
You don't think he means to shoot Alex?
I don't know what he means to do, but, well, the way I figure it, if Mr. Wheeler knows, it'll be a lot harder for Justin to do anything.
Well, thanks for the warning, Ricky.
That's quite all right, sir. But I'm not doing it for you. I'm doing it for Justin.
Well, thank you anyway, and I'll take precautions.
Yes, sir. I think that'll save everyone a lot of grief.
Terry, I'm glad to see that your brother is as honest and sensible as you are.
Thanks, Alex. Now, if you're through spreading gloom, little brother, let's go get something to eat.
Yeah, all this talk has made me kind of hungry.
This way. There's a private elevator.
Hey, that's something.
Glad to hear the new government in Tank here values your services so highly, Colonel. But you did perform a very valuable service, didn't you? The deal set then? Good. Right, I'll set up a meeting with Alex Wheeler as soon as possible. Don't worry, Colonel Zine, I'll be in touch as soon as I arrange the meeting. Bye. Well, there she is. The light of my life.
Well, what brought this on?
Nothing brought this on. I'm just showing you what you mean to me, baby. And maybe I don't do that often enough.
Later, I'd appreciate a lot more of the same. But right now, I'd like you to meet someone. Clipper, this is my little brother, Ricky.
Little? He doesn't look so little to me. Glad to meet you, Ricky. Been hearing a lot about you from Terry.
About how I fell off my tricycle and cut my head, or has she got me into high school yet?
Oh, Ricky, you know you'll always be my kid brother. Even if you are 6 feet and 1/2 inches in stocking feet.
Hey, let's not have any squabbling. I just got some terrific news, so let's go have a drink.
Sounds good. I could use something to wash down the dust.
Whatever you want, Rick, we've got it. And while you're drinking in the view, Terry and I can discuss a little business.
What business?
Oh, it can wait, honey. Let's go get a drink, shoot the breeze.
Clipper, I want to know what you mean.
I don't want to bore Ricky with the details. All right. I just want to talk to Alex about a big business deal, and I thought it would go a lot smoother if you asked him to go along with my idea, that's all.
Clipper,
You want me to go on ahead, Terry?
Nah, let's all go celebrate. What do you say, honey?
I say we talk more about this. Right now.
Come in, Ryan. I've been waiting for you. Have you been able to close the deal on Mike's old house yet?
No, I haven't.
They turned you down?
No, not at all. In fact, Mrs. Marshall seems anxious to get rid of the place. I guess it holds some bad memories for her.
Well, then what?
Well, Don Marshall came in from the auction of her father's things. She seemed pretty torn up about it. And you know Justin's frame of mind, I just figured it'd be the wrong time.
The house is empty then? It's ready for sale?
Mm-hmm. Everything's gone. The keys being held by the bankruptcy court. Listen, I have to tell you the truth, Alex. I don't think Justin and Don Marshall would sell you a burial plot in hell if they thought you wanted it.
There's no hope then.
You really want this house, don't you?
It's been on my mind. I've been thinking about it all day. Iris needs a house.
Well, if you want it that badly, I think there's a way. The land. Now, half of the ranch property belongs to Mike Marshall. It was an inheritance from his father. Now, that makes it fair game for the bankruptcy proceedings.
Unless what?
Unless the chief creditor agrees to isolate it from the bankruptcy.
So whoever pays off the claim against the ranch gets the house in River Oaks?
That's about the size of it. Of course, you have to realize that any reasonable CPA would tell you you're crazy to do it. That ranch land's worth a lot more than that house in Houston.
Not to me, it isn't. All right, I want you to get going. I want you to wrap it up, Ryan. It's important to me and important to Iris.
Iris, honey, I just had that carpet put in last year.
What?
I said you're gonna wear a hole right through the floor if you keep pacing back and forth in the same spot.
Why hasn't Alex called? Ryan left here hours ago. Surely he's talked to Alex by now.
Alex Wheeler isn't a man to talk to.
Oh, you don't think he could be angry with me, do you? I mean, I did tell him a little white lie about Brian holding up the divorce.
No, honey, I don't think Alex would even recognize the little lies, just the big black ones.
Rena, what are you talking about? Don't you know how I feel?
Of course I do. Iris, I don't want you to get overly involved with Alex Wheeler, that's all.
I can't believe you're saying that. When I came back from Alex's yacht, you were ready to see us sail off to Hong Kong.
Yeah, well, I've had time to mull it over, and, I really think that you
Something must have come up. There was some big business deal.
Alex Wheeler is a man of many affairs.
Oh, of course. He's terribly important in the oil business. That must be it.
Honey, I just gotta show you something.
Well, what is it?
There's some pictures.
Pictures, Rena. You think I want to look at pictures of some silly horse at a time like this?
These are pictures of a horse of a different color.
Well, all right, let me see them. Oh, that's Alex. Hello. Alex, I've been waiting for your call. Did you see Brian?
Yes, we had a chance to talk before I went to the airport. He's a very understanding person, Iris.
Yes. He always has been, even when I deserved it the least. Did he tell you what I said?
He said you were staying in Houston, at least for a while. That the divorce was final, that there were no more ties to Bay City.
I can almost believe that now, Alex. But I was so worried you took so long to call.
I'm sorry. I was waiting for some information there, something I want to show you. But I wasn't sure I could do it.
Well, Alex, what else could you show me? I've seen the world building and your yacht.
Well, it's something I want to do for you. Could I send my car over for you tomorrow? We could talk over my idea here, then take a drive.
Yes, of course.
It's settled then. Tomorrow.
Yes, tomorrow. Oh, I'm sorry, darling. You wanted to show me those pictures.
No, honey, I don't think you want to see some pictures of an old horse. Not now. I wouldn't take that look off your face for anything in the world.
Does it really show that much?
Mm-hmm. I don't think they're going to need any lights in Houston tonight, not with the glow on your face.
You know, Rena, I think this may work for us.
I really hope so, Iris. I really hope so.
Bancroft?
Well, yes.
I'm Mr. Wheeler's chauffeur, sir. He sent me to meet you and bring you to the World Building.
Mr. Wheeler sent a car for me? I don't understand. I've come to Houston to see Iris Carrington.
Yes, sir. And Mr. Wheeler instructed me to take you to see Mrs. Carrington afterwards.
Afterwards? After what?
After you see Mr. Wheeler.
But is Mrs. Carrington aware of this arrangement?
I wouldn't know, sir.
It seems rather strange.
Not for Mr. Wheeler, sir. Do you have any luggage?
No, indeed. I intend to return to Bay City this evening.
Well, in that case, we'd better get you to Mr. Wheeler's office as soon as possible. This way, Mr. Bancroft.
Thanks, Bruce.
Dawn, you don't have to see this. Let me take you home.
Home? No, I have to stay. I came to help Dennis.
Dawn? Justin? How you doing?
I'll be all right.
How about you? How are you doing?
I'm okay.
You don't have to stay here, you know.
Oh, yes, I do. I came to help, and I'm going to, even if all I do is keep track of the sales. Dennis, let me do something.
All right. Did you come to help too, Justin?
I came to deliver Dawn and get something that belongs to me.
Well, do you need help finding it?
I could find it in hell if I had to. Dad, how can you love someone so much, yet not hear them when they need you? I'm sorry. I'm sorry I wasn't listening.
Hello, son. Dad! Hey, Dad, what's up? How are you?
Fine, son. Fine. I just thought
It's first light here. We've been working for hours. Must be late in Houston.
Yes, son. It's very late.
Listen, it's nice of you to call. The race is going to begin any minute. All I need is 3 points.
That all you need?
The world champion.
For what?
I can hardly hear you.
If you thought you might be, well, thinking of coming home. You know, help with the family, with the business.
You know that this is the life I love.
No, yeah, well, I know that, son, but
Hey, how you don't need my help with Marshall Oil.
I'm afraid there's not going to be Marshall Oil.
Listen, Dad.
Yeah?
Glad you called. It'll bring me good luck. I've got to go. Read the sports page. I'm going all out today. It's going to be a great day. So long. Why? Why couldn't I hear what you were trying to tell me?
Maybe if I had, this wouldn't be the last voice that you ever heard. Dad, I didn't do my duty then, I know. I'm sorry. But I'll do it now. I swear. And the past? It isn't dead. It isn't even past.
Justin! Oh, glad you decided to come by after all. What's that?
Well, I heard it. Legacy. Promissory note. An account receivable.
Where'd you get it?
I dropped Dawn off at the River Oaks house. They're auctioning all of my family's personal possessions to take care of the debt my father left behind.
It must have been so difficult walking into that house.
Yeah. House. It's not my home anymore. Everything's tagged, waiting for strangers to come and buy. I was in my dad's study.
Oh, that's
His desk was tagged. His chair was tagged. Paintings were tagged. This was tagged, too. What was I supposed to do? Let some stranger come by and buy it for a few dollars? The gun that my father used to... Do you mind if I have a drink?
No, go right ahead. I can see how you wouldn't want for that to be sold, but what are you going to do with it?
I just keep it around for a while.
Well, now, what for? What good is that going to do besides keep your memories alive?
It's good enough for me. I've wasted enough time trying to wait until the time was right. Rena, I'm ready.
That's right. It's time. It's time for you to stop moping around and start getting back into the real world. I mean it, Justin. If you really are interested in helping your family and yourself, the best thing you can do is concentrate on getting yourself a job. Now, that is why you're here, right? I did offer to take you to Vicky's about a job at KVIK.
I know that that's what we talked about. To tell you the truth, I did come by here this afternoon to talk about that, and I've decided I think we should just forget about it. I'm concentrating on Alex Wheeler all the time. I think about him every moment.
Justin, I'm all for revenge myself. There's no love lost between me and Alex Wheeler, believe me. But I care about you. And I hate to see you brooding. I mean, it isn't going to change anything. What if I told you my mother is very close to Alex Wheeler? I mean very close, honey. Would that make you more interested in working for her?
How close?
Pretty close, darling. Let me show you something. You are just gonna love these. Good morning. Oh, Iris, you're up so early.
Oh, I heard voices and I thought perhaps Brian had arrived, but I see you have company. How are you, Justin?
I'm just fine. I'm doing better all the time.
Oh, that's good. Sit down, please. Oh, dear, did I interrupt something important?
Nope, nothing. That can't be continued later on anyway. Honey, I hate to leave like this, but Justin and I were just getting ready to see Vicki.
Rena has convinced me to apply for a job at KVIK, despite the fact I have no experience in television or any other useful occupation. Wait till Vicky finds out what I can't do.
Oh, Vicky's a very sympathetic person. I know she'll consider your application very seriously.
Oh, she'll do better than that, I guarantee it. Well, Justin, you ready? And let's put that thing away in the trunk of the car.
Oh, please. Bye-bye, you two. And good luck, Justin.
Thanks.
Have a good day now, and say hello to Brian for me.
Yes. Bye-bye, Doc. Bye. I would like to say hello to Brian for myself.
Office, Mr. Bancroft. If you'll give the young lady your name, she'll see you in, and I'll be waiting to take you to Mrs. Carrington's.
Really? Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm Brian Bancroft. I presume Mr. Wheeler's expecting me because he sent a car and a driver to the airport to pick me up. Does he do that kind of thing often?
Only for special guests, Mr. Bancroft. And he is most anxious to see you. Please. He asked me to show you in the moment you arrived, so if you'd come in.
Brian Bancroft? Alexander Wheeler. I can't tell you how glad I am to meet you.
Mr. Wheeler.
Alex, please. Can Terry get you something, coffee or anything?
No, thank you.
All right. Terry, would you hold all my calls for me, please?
Right.
Thank you. Nothing is more important to me than this talk.
So I gather. I'm not accustomed to being bundled into a car by a uniformed stranger and being told I have an appointment to see a man I've never met.
But we did speak on the telephone.
For a moment. But I hardly think that justifies...
Yes, well, forgive me. I was anxious to see you before you met with Iris. It just seemed more expedient. I suppose it did seem a little abrupt.
To say the least.
Yes. But I want you to understand quite clearly my position. That is, when you see Iris later, you can
Mr. Wheeler, Alex, you understand that I'm in Houston because Iris called me.
From this office?
Wherever she called me from, it's still Iris I've come to see. Yet since I got off the plane, I haven't seen or spoken to her. I'm talking to you, a total stranger. And you're telling me you want to make your position absolutely clear. Now, do you understand? I don't know what you're talking about. Make what position clear? What's going on here? And where is Iris?
I'm sorry, but this is important to me, too. Would you please sit down and let me explain? Look. Both of us have a deep concern for Iris's welfare.
I know that I have such an interest. But who are you? What is your interest in Iris?
I'm someone who loves her. I've loved her for 25 years. We met in Europe a long time ago. I couldn't marry her then. I had nothing to offer. But now I do.
But why?
Why? Because for the last 25 years, I've done nothing but build all of this as a setting for the one perfect woman I've ever known, Iris.
Iris.
I'm a hard worker and a hard fighter, too. You don't get to the top ranks of international oil without being tough. But I want you to know that inside, I'm still the same 20-year-old kid who met Iris in Saint-Tropez and fell in love with her. And I loved her all these years. And now that I can give her the world, now that I've found her again, I've asked her to forgive me for leaving her and to let us start our lives all over again, together. And I know that she wants that. But she's hesitating, she's holding back, and I think I know why.
Well, I admire your ability to fathom Iris's mind because I've never been able to myself. Why?
The divorce. I know you're still technically married.
Well, all the papers haven't been signed yet, but we decided to go through with the divorce several months ago.
Then why don't you give it to her?
Now, just a minute.
Now, before you say anything else, I want you to know that I want most of all for Iris to be free, to be with me. And I will do almost anything to achieve that. That's why I brought you down here.
Look,
so that
I don't know what Iris is up to.
There's
now.
one
Now,
more...
wait a minute. Just let me finish. Before you offer me some sort of threat or bribe and make me really angry, instead of being sympathetic to your predicament. Alex, there is no trouble with the divorce. In fact, I have the final decree with me in my briefcase right now.
No.
Yes.
But Iris said that...
Yes, well, it's not unusual for Iris to say whatever she feels is to her advantage, regardless of whether it's true or not.
But then Iris lied to me. Why?
For the same reason she'd lie to anyone else. Because she isn't ready to tell you the truth.
Can you find out what the truth is?
Probably.
Then when you talk about it with her, will you come back?
She's expecting me. Goodbye, Alex. It was interesting meeting you.
Then I hope I see you again soon. Oh, Iris. Now that I've found you, I can't lose you again.
Alex, do you want the phone messages that came while you were talking to Mr. Bancroft? Or should I just come back later?
No. Go ahead, Terry.
Okay. Your nephew Ryan called. Apparently the contents of Mike's River Oaks house are being auctioned off today. And he's going by to see if who's ever handling the auction is also going to handle the sale of the house. You're interested in buying Mike Marshall's house?
Mm.
To help the family out?
Well, that's part of it. I don't want them suffering any more than necessary because of the Marshall Oil bankruptcy and Mike's death. But I would like to buy the house, yes.
It's a wonderful old place, isn't it?
You don't find houses like that on the market very often. Iris has to have a place.
Lucky lady. To be offered such a gift.
Terry, I would give her the world. But I don't know if she would accept anything at all from me right now. If Mr. Bancroft calls or comes by, will you put him through to me, please? No matter what I'm doing.
Brian. Oh, Brian, where have you been? Come in, come in. I called the airport. They told me your plane had come in on time, but I've been waiting and waiting. The least you could have done was called me.
Well, I would have been glad to, but I was waylaid.
You were what?
Yes, a car and a driver picked me up at the airport and drove me to the World Building downtown before I even knew where I was going.
Oh, you've seen Alex then?
Yes. Is that fresh coffee?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, here, let me. And, what did you two talk about?
Sugar, please. Thank you. We talked about you. He's quite frank, isn't he?
What did he say?
Well, it was what he almost said that was so interesting. I think he was about to offer me a bribe. Although, now that I think of it, it might have been a threat. I'm not sure. To conclude the divorce proceedings as rapidly as possible.
Oh, dear. And what did you tell him, Brian?
The truth. Well, what did you expect me to say? That I was foregoing the divorce for some reason?
No, of course not. It just makes things so awkward now, though, because he knows I lied. Oh, Brian, what will he think?
Oh, Iris, why do you always ask that question afterwards? Well, I suppose it'll depend on how you explain why you lied. Why did you lie to him, Iris? What are you hiding?
What makes you think I was hiding anything?
Oh, I know you. And I think you owe me an explanation, too. Now, why did you tell Alex you were having difficulties with the divorce?
Because I am having difficulties, but with something else. And I do need your help, especially now that Alex knows I lied.
Iris, sometime in your life, you're going to have to stop lying and hiding and then asking for help. Now, why don't you just tell the man the truth, whatever it is, and damn the consequences?
Because he wouldn't understand.
Wheeler seemed intelligent enough to me.
He's also demanding and in a hurry. He can't understand my hesitating at all. He thinks 25 years can just be forgotten in a moment.
Why can't they be?
Because there is a very tangible product of those 25 years. I can't even tell you.
Oh, Iris. Iris, dear, dear baby. We've been through so much together, haven't we? Well, the passion's spent. The friendship still remains. And you know I want you to be happy.
Yeah.
So let me help you, whatever it is. Now, why don't you just be brave and say it right out?
Because I can't.
Well, then, I suppose there's no point in my staying here.
No, Brian, don't leave me. I'm desperate, and I don't have anyone else to turn to.
You could turn to Alex.
No, I can't tell him. Please help me.
I'm trying to. But so far, all I've gathered is there's something Alex doesn't know, and whatever it is, it's keeping you apart.
That's true.
Well, what is it?
It's Dennis.
Dennis? You mean Alex doesn't know you have a son?
No, he knows Dennis is my son. What he doesn't know is that Dennis is his son, too.
You mean Alex is really Dennis's father? All these years. Well, who else knows about this?
No one. Not a soul.
You mean Mac doesn't know?
No. I met Alex in Europe while I was in school there during a vacation on the Mediterranean. Don't let anyone tell you that a whole life can't be changed in an instant, Brian. I met Alex and fell in love for the first and probably the only time in my life. 3 days. And I gave myself to him and to loving, wholly, utterly, completely. And when he left, I discovered I was pregnant.
What did you do then?
What could I do? Elliot had been following me around Europe like a puppy dog, begging for some attention from me, so I called him. And when he asked me again to marry him, I did. And I never told Mac or Elliot or Dennis or anyone that Dennis is really Alex's son. Why should I? I never told anyone about Alex either.
And you've kept that secret all these years.
All these years?
Well, that explains a lot of things, you know.
Does it?
Why you've never been able to rest. Why you always assume the worst of others. Assume that they're hiding something too. That explains a great deal about the past.
Well, maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. But I can't worry about the past now. It's the present and the future that are troubling me.
Well, I don't understand why you don't make it simple. Just tell them who they are to one another and hope for the best. There is a good side, you know.
Oh, of course there is. Why, if Alex and I do marry, it would be so much easier for Dennis to accept him, knowing that Alex is really his father. And then let's face it, Alex is so wealthy and powerful. Dennis's future would be assured once Alex knew he was his son. Do you think that's terrible of me to think?
No. I understand. Well, everything you've said sounds pretty good.
But I've only told you the good parts.
Well, tell me the bad ones.
Well, Dennis would find out that he wasn't who he thought he was, that his father isn't his father, that he's a bastard.
Oh, I'm sure Dennis would be upset at first, but he's sensible, Iris. He'd get over it in time.
No, he wouldn't. Oh, I take that back. He would get over it, but how mutilated inside, what sort of scars.
Well, you may be right. I just don't like subterfuge. But it may be warranted in this case. Maybe you could marry Alex and let him and Dennis gradually get to know each other. Then tell them both later, when they've grown to like each other.
If only that were possible.
Well, what's wrong with it?
Dennis and Alex haven't met.
Oh, Iris, there you go again, imagining the worst. I mean, taking steps to counterbalance something that might not even happen. Worrying about how they'll react when they haven't even met each other yet? Well, why haven't they met?
Because Dennis doesn't want to meet Alex.
Why not, Iris, if he doesn't even know the man?
Oh, Dennis is in love with... Well, he cares very much for, at any rate, a girl he met here. And because she and her family blame Alex for her father's death, so does Dennis. Don't you see? Because of Don Marshall, Dennis hates Alex already. He hates his own father.
We've got a lot of things to sell this afternoon, but before we begin, let me remind you to raise your number when making a bid. Now, the first items in your catalogs is also the first of the antiques we have for sale today. Over 200 years old and still in magnificent condition, this woman's hope chest, called a bride's box of French Creole origin, brought to Texas from New Orleans. Now, we'll open the bidding at $1,500. Do I hear $1,500?
It's going very well, don't you think?
1,500.
2,000.
25.
Hey, Don.
3,000.
What's wrong?
31.
He's selling my mother's hope chest. The chest she brought with her to Houston as a bride.
Come on, let's go in here. We can get you calmed down a little bit.
4,000.
Dennis, I'm so sorry. I just couldn't help it. Oh, no.
Wait. I brought you in here for a good reason, so let's just calm down a little, all right?
I don't want to be in here, Dennis, please.
Trust me. I have something very special for you.
Everything special to me is being sold out there.
You're wrong, Dawn. What I have here is more important than anything being sold out there.
But Dennis, life is things. It's the things that you remember from when you were tiny. The bowl that was yours, the stove that was so high you'd never see the top of it. The chair your father always sat in when he came home.
Life is more than that. It's the things you remember surrounding those things. The love. That's what counts. All those things, they're just going to disappear and decay with time. But what I have here, no one can ever take away, and no one can ever tarnish either.
What's that?
I found it when I was doing the inventory for the sale. First, I didn't know what it was. But after I read the first page, I knew you should have it. Go on, take it.
What is it?
It's a journal kept by your father.
My father kept a journal? I never knew. I can't. It's private.
It was private. But it's yours now. A personal legacy from your father to you.
Why to me?
Read it. It seems you started it after your mother died. It's kind of an extended letter to her about the family, about him. The first part is all about you.
Me? But I was just a baby when my mother died.
Read it.
My darling Madeline, I'm so used to sharing my day, my thoughts with you, that I'm going to set aside some time each evening to write the most important events of the day, knowing that somehow you'll still share them with me.
Go on. The next part's about you.
Today I went to the nursery to claim the last gift you left me. Our baby. The nurse told me I'd have to name her for the birth certificate before I took her home. I couldn't think. You'd been so ill those last few months that we never did decide on a name, did we? But suddenly, I knew what to call her, and I named her Dawn. Because she was a new life, and the only light in the darkest hour of mine.
See, isn't that better than all that stuff being sold out there? Isn't it? It is, Dawn. Because all those things are just that. They're things. This is your father's love. And any time you feel that you need that, all you have to do is open it and read.
That's true. No one can ever take love away from you.
And the rest doesn't matter.
Thank you, Dennis. Thank you.
Excuse me, but we have to remove some items from this room. Is it all right?
Yes, it's all right.
Asked me to come with him. And then when he demanded an explanation for my concern, what else could I tell him but that you wouldn't give me the divorce?
I see.
Do you really?
Yes. But it makes no difference, Iris. You still lied to him. You still haven't learned that lying just complicates things. I've told you that before, haven't I?
Yes.
But it hasn't done any good.
Oh, Brian, do you think that instead of lecturing me, you could give me some advice?
Will you take it?
Of course.
All right, then. I advise you to say yes to Alex, and then be patient. If he's the man you think he is, Dennis will come to accept him sooner or later. And when that happens, you can tell them both.
If you had seen the look on Dennis's face when I so much as mentioned Alex's name. Oh, you're too optimistic. It won't work.
You just said you'd take my advice, Iris.
Well, I didn't think it would be so unrealistic. No, I just don't think the day will ever come when Dennis will accept Alex, not as long as he's involved with Dawn.
Now, Iris, you stay out of that.
Oh, Brian, of course I will. I was just wondering what I'm going to say to either of them in the meantime.
Well, the decision is yours. But whatever you decide, you're not going to use this divorce as an excuse.
Are those the final papers?
They are. Here you are. The final decree. You sign here, and that means you accept it.
I can't do it.
Iris, you know it's for the best for both of us. Well, what's stopping you?
If I sign that, it separates me forever from Bay City, from my old life.
Only if you want it to, Iris.
I don't know what I want.
Well, I can't decide for you. But I'll tell you this. I'm flying back to Bay City tonight. So if you feel that this situation is just too difficult for you, why don't you think about coming back with me?
Thank you. Ah, more things change, the more they stay the same.
Is that the way you see it?
No, not really, I guess. Thing to say, isn't it? We're gonna have fun, eh?
You sure of that? It's been a long time, but I don't remember Victoria Bellman as a pushover.
Oh, she's mellow. Sweetest thing in this world.
Tell you the truth, sweetheart. I think living up there in Bay City has loosened your brain. Vicky is going to toss us both right out on our ear.
No, she's gonna greet you like the son-in-law she hoped for, ask you what you've been doing, and offer you a job on the sports staff of KVIK.
That's how it goes. Buy you lunch, maybe even dinner.
Ooh, now you're sticking your neck out. I'll collect, believe me.
I never knew you to bet on anything but a sure thing.
Bet on you once.
Nobody's perfect. You know that old saying, never was a horse that couldn't be rode, nor a rider that couldn't be throwed.
That's what they say. You about ready to find out whether you got a job or not?
Lead on, lovely. I figure to get a meal out of this either way it goes.
Wait a minute.
For what?
Wait.
Hey, don't look a gift horse in the mouth, huh? How do you like your big sister, huh? I say I'll spring her to dinner and she's got to think about it. Look, we got a hungry man to feed here, too. Let's put on the feed bag and then talk.
Oh, no. Dinner in the dining room and business in the office.
Why are you being so cagey?
Because I don't want to walk into one of your snow jobs, Clipper. He's going to pour a lot of drinks into me and hope I'll say yes to anything.
Offhand, I'd say you could use a drink. A 12.
Hey, that sounds like a real good idea. Why don't you all talk and I'll meet you in the bar?
Why'd you have to go and make a scene?
If you want something from Alex and you want me to help you, I have to know what it is. Here and now. Otherwise, someday you'll announce that I promised. And when I say I didn't, you'll just say I forgot.
Terry. Baby, have I ever done that to you? All right, we'll talk.
I'm listening.
You remember how last week I got kind of touchy when you brought up a certain subject?
Which one?
The subject of matrimony.
Yes?
You remember why I said I wanted to hold off?
You didn't want to hold off. You never wanted it mentioned again. And yes, I do remember why. You thought I wanted to own you.
That was what I said. You knew better.
Did I?
Well, come on, baby. You own me now. And I'm not griping, am I?
No, not this minute.
Not this or any other. My real reason was that I don't want us to get married if we can't be happy.
Why couldn't we?
Happiness costs. And it's just gone up like everything else.
Clipper, that's foolish. I'd live with you in a tent. You know that. Besides, that's not the problem anyway. We make enough money.
Not for the kind of life I want to give you. But, baby, now I think I hear our ship coming in.
I don't think I like the sound of it.
You will. You will. Just pipe down and listen. I've got this little plan, see? And all I need to make it work is for you to be my salesman with Alex. Now, that's not asking too much, is it?
Dancing with my darling to the Tennessee waltz, when an old friend I happen to see introduced him to my dark one, and while they were dancing, my friend stole my sweetheart from me.
Elena, honey, you have the sweetest little voice.
Go on. Ricky says I sound like a squeaky door.
Oh, well, that doesn't count. He's your brother. Or doesn't he like music?
Only the kind that comes from under the hood of his car. You know, maybe Ricky was right about it being dumb for me to come spend the summer working here.
Lena, honey, are you homesick?
No, well, I love being in Houston. It's just that I'm used to having my nights to myself, you know. I mean, sure, I got a ton of chores to do at home, but, well, I'm not lazy, Nita, you know that.
Oh, well, of course not.
But come 11 o'clock, I wasn't in the kitchen cleaning a steam table or washing out 20 chili pots.
Yeah, I know, it's hard work. But after a while, it gets to be like filing your nails. I remember when I first started, I used to have kitchen nightmares. Well, you know, pots and pans flying around like airplanes, tomatoes crying in the pantry. I'd wake up feeling like I never left work.
Well, all I know is I sure could use a night off.
Well, ask Maggie. I'm sure she'd understand.
Maybe she would. Maybe she would.
So what are you going to do on your big night off?
Nothing. Just unwind in front of the TV or take a long, hot bath. It's not like I got anywhere to go.
Sounds nice. So what are you standing there for? Scat?
Tonight? No, Nita, I can't.
Well, sure you can. It's not busy here. Some are slow.
Well, I couldn't. Besides, Aunt Maggie would think I'm lazier than sin.
Well, I'll tell her you came down with something. I'll tell her it's something you ate.
Don't tell her that.
Well, then I'll tell her it's the heat or something. Now you get upstairs and get yourself some rest. All right.
Thanks, Nita. Hey, don't you worry, okay? I'll be good.
How much bad can you get into in a bathtub?
I was dancing with my darling to the Tennessee waltz when an old friend I happened to see introduced him to my love.
Hey, Rube, how'd you get past the front door?
Name's Ricky, Billy Joe. Give me a beer, please.
A beer? How crude. We got more class than that up here. How about a planter's punch?
How about I punch you out?
All right. You can take the Rube out of the country. So what are you doing here? Sightseeing?
Having dinner with Clipper Curtis. He's your boss, isn't he?
What's it to you? You after my job?
No, thanks. I like to keep busy.
So how are they going to keep you down on the farm after you've seen the top of the world?
It's a ranch. We raise horses.
Well, that's what I smelled when you came in here. Nobody ever teach you don't hassle a man with a knife, huh?
Didn't anybody ever teach you not to hassle an off-duty cop?
You're lying.
Deputy Sheriff, Marshall County.
So that's what I smelled when you came in here. All right, cop, take your drink and vamoose.
What's the matter, Billy Joe? You don't like cops?
Yeah, I gotta run. You'd like to rattle my chain, wouldn't you? Tough luck, Rube. I was clean as the deacon's diary.
Man, you better be.
Just for the sight of you dream all day and night of you. But what good does it do? In 1929 I sold short. In England I presented at court. But you got me done
break, Jerry. I'm all set, okay?
Okay. Later. Sounds good, Paige.
Ricky! Oh, you make me feel so old.
Why's that?
Oh, when I think of that little charmer that used to hover around Justin and ogle at me when I was, what, 16?
Oh, come on now, Paige.
You did, you little wolf, you.
You were the only grown-up lady around.
Ah, those were the days. You were a 10-year-old rubbernecking angel. Too bad. If I'd have known then what I see now. Oh, never mind. Drink your beer before you blush yourself to death. So, what brings you to Houston?
Oh, I'm in the Harris County stock car races tomorrow. I just stopped in to see if Terry could put me up for the night.
Oh, well, that's an interesting question. Did she say she'd have a vacancy?
Yeah.
I mean, she does live alone, doesn't she?
Well, she brought me up here to meet her boyfriend.
Oh, I see. Then she's with Clipper right now.
Yeah. I skedaddled when they started talking business. Sounded kind of confidential and big.
Really? Oh, well, I was going to pop in and say hello, but I do hate to interrupt talk about money. Makes me feel like a thief. I'll just wait and say hi to Terry later. Oh.
So all you have to do, baby, is put in a good word with Wheeler, and you and me'll have a Mr. and Mrs. address on Easy Street. Simple? What do you think?
Want the truth?
I want a yes.
No. It's impossible. Ridiculous. But let's just pretend it never came up and go have dinner.
Ridiculous?
All right, that was a little blunt. I'm sorry.
Well, I think you made yourself clear. Just forget about me, right? Forget about my feelings and my future, and let's just go play starry-eyed couple for your kid brother. Sorry, baby, it doesn't work that way. If I'm so ridiculous, why in the world do you want to be seen with me in the first place?
Look, I'm sorry. It was just a gut reaction.
Don't paw me, huh?
Clipper, be realistic. Even if I could flim-flam Alex, even if I would, you can't just leap into the oil business.
People do it all the time.
Honey, you don't know the first thing about it. There is no way you could act as a transport agent for a foreign country, especially one as diplomatically touchy as Tangier.
Wrong, baby. That's what I'm telling you. You see, I knew I'd cash in big someday when I took this job. And today's the day. And this Colonel Lassini's one of them muckety-mucks. He says they're just itching to ship that stuff out of there. I mean, these kitty gorillas may scream down with America, but they have got to sell that oil. Can't eat it, can't drink it, and can't put her in their wallets. And besides, they've got that brand new refinery going great guns now.
You know whose refinery that was?
Not anymore, Terry.
It seems criminal to try and turn a profit on what happened to Mike.
Look, baby, these are fast-moving times we live in. And you've got to grab the golden ring when it comes around. I mean, Mike Marshall had it for a while, but he fumbled it. Bad. No reason I can't take my turn now.
Mike Marshall worked for 35 years building something that was wiped out in a day. You have a hunch and a maybe from this Hassine, and you're going to make a killing?
That's the beauty of it, baby. There's no outlay. Nothing to lose. I mean, it's a middleman's dream. I mean, all I am is a matchmaker. Hassine's oil and Wheeler's tankers. I mean, it's a marriage made in heaven. And we get to skim a little off the top of every barrel that's shipped.
What makes you think Alex needs you?
Because this is one sweet deal he can't make. Only I can. Hassine wants me.
Why?
Look, take my word for it. That's what contacts are all about. I mean, maybe he likes me. We've talked a lot. Maybe he wants to see me get my break. Is that so impossible to believe? Honey, this deal can make me a fortune and give us a future.
That right there. That's something I really can't stand.
What?
Emotional blackmail. If I get Alex to take the bait, you'll marry me?
Baby, don't look at it that way. Alex stands to make a bundle, too.
That's not the point. If you want to marry me, but don't make me conditions.
We can't afford it yet.
Clipper, a marriage license is cheap and love is free. Or should be. But all that's really irrelevant, isn't it? Look, I am not Alex's financial advisor. I am not in any position to make business recommendations.
He listens to you.
Clipper, please, it's just something I cannot do. Now let's just forget about it. Ricky's waiting. We can still salvage the evening. Honey, I hate to waste what little time we have together.
Maybe it's all been a waste, Terry.
Clipper!
Guess what, Grandma?
I give up.
I finally decided what I'm going to be when I grow older.
That's a relief.
Again, Steve? Yep, I want to be a horse lawyer.
Honey, a horse is likely to get sick and need a doctor, but he's not likely to have call for a lawyer.
Not a lawyer for horses, a lawyer that rides horses.
Oh.
Like that Mr. Connor who was here.
Ah, you had me worried. I was thinking my little Steve was headed for a life of poverty. Horses don't pay much, you know.
Lord, the plans we had, Barrett Marshall and I.
We were going to raise another generation to love this land the way we've loved it for 120 years. We supposed that when the world ended, God would still find Marshalls right here where they'd always been.
But the dream died.
He was killed. Now there's just Steve. And I don't even know if there'll be a Marshall ranch for him to grow up to.
Where would you go, Jenny, if it came to that?
Do you know I haven't even thought about that? Kate and I won't talk about it. But I think if I had to leave this place, I'd rather die. Every place else seems so second rate.
What about Houston?
Houston? Yes, Houston. There are a lot of Marshalls now. Living in apartments, looking for some place better than they had. I guess I wish them luck, Ryan. It's not there. I mean, Houston's all right, but it's not really Texas. Any more than Dallas or San Antonio or Austin is. This is Texas. And if I could live for 1,000 years, it's the only place I'd want to be.
I see what you mean.
Really?
After this ride.
Stephen!
Sorry, Mom. Sorry, Grandma.
That's all right, Stephen. You're just trying to fill Elena's shoes.
Boys aren't much good at housework, are they?
Oh, I don't know. Your father used to help me out in the kitchen till he was old enough for stable chores.
Tell you what, you get the crockery. Why don't you go out to the stable and help Max, okay?
Okay, I bet I can do Ricky's jobs.
That boy's so like his father. 2 peas in a pod.
I know. He reminds me more of Barrett every day. Helps keep the memory fresh.
Well, after a while, the face and the voice begin to fade and blur. You know, the Lord gives us our memories, Chindy. And they're fine, too. But he takes them away, little by little. And that's all right.
I don't know, Kate. I don't know.
Honey, why don't you go out and get a little air? You're looking pale tonight.
Maybe I guess I'll go out to the stable and check on Steve. I'll be back.
right? Give me a double. Neat.
Sure thing, boss. Miss D?
No, thanks. Please.
Yeah, give her holiness an old-fashioned. Very old.
Gotcha.
Oh, no. Quitting.
Please, can't we put this aside for now? And be civil at dinner with Ricky.
Sure. Break out the party hats.
Boy, you sure got him riled. What'd you do now?
Well, hello. We were just talking about you two.
What a coincidence. So are we.
Did you all finish your business?
For the time being.
It's finished all right.
Clipper, let's get a table.
Listen, I am honored. It's about time you two took in this show instead of hovering over dinner in that office.
Figured it was time for a change of view.
Well, I'll just warble my little heart out tonight. Any special requests?
How about 5 minutes of silence? Clipper, are you coming with us?
A favorite I haven't heard in way too long. Know a tune called I Get Along Without You Very Well?
You mean Hollywood's national anthem?
Make it a duet. I won't be around to hear it. Come on, Ricky, let's go to Maggie's. The company's better.
Well, excuse us.
Oh dear, something I said?
Who knows?
So, how'd your little confab go?
Like a dynamite minefield.
That bad?
Worse. We pulled out all the stops.
Oh, not all. She didn't pull in the welcome mat to Papa Wheeler's office, did she?
Pulled it in, rolled it up, and slammed the door in my face.
Ouch.
That woman is so country, so small time. The only game she plays is Wheeler's watchdog.
So now what happens?
Like the song says, I can do without her. I'll pound on Wheeler's door myself.
And I'll keep my fingers crossed for you, darling. The only way you could possibly be more attractive is if you were rich, too. You know, there's a silver lining to every cloud, Clipper. I mean, if Terry's outlived her usefulness, well, I'm not the servant type, but I do know how to be of service from time to time.
One night you were a real lifesaver. We were having after-dinner drinks in my office.
As I recall, that really hit the spot. No reason we couldn't do it again.
No reason in the world. I can never get enough of
Cognac?
Stings. Anisette?
Sticky. Creme de coco?
Sweet?
Airy.
Yeah.
Yep. How come little stars so little?
This little star's a pony. His parents are ponies. And ponies are little.
If Cimarron was his father, would he be big?
Reckon he would.
Mr. Kiner was my father. Could I be a lawyer?
Well, we want to be a lawyer for, huh? all that schooling? Come on.
If you were my father, what would I be?
Like you are now. Exactly the same. And you listen here, you only got one father. Don't you forget that. Yeah. Come on, let's finish up. It's a good thing you came out. I'd still be unboxing these tomorrow morning. Oh.
Mom, did you hear what Max said? I told you he'd need me.
You were right.
I'm gonna need you even worse tomorrow. Hope you're not busy.
Nah, I guess not.
That's good. Well, I guess you better hit the hay early then, huh?
I'm gonna hit the hay. Night, Ma.
First, you're gonna hit the bathtub, young man. I'll be right in, okay?
Okay. Night, Max.
Good night. Hey, and you listen here, don't you forget to wash behind your ears. Right? Yeah.
Oh, Max, I hope he didn't get in your way.
In my way? More help than Ricky, if you want to know the truth.
I can't seem to keep him busy enough this summer. He's always got something on his mind.
You heard. Well, shame on you. Eavesdropping on man-to-man talks. So, what brings you out at this hour anyhow? You got something on your mind?
You know the trouble with you, Max Decker? You know me just like a book. Yes, there is something in my mind.
He was a prince, Barry was. Solid. Always had things sorted out. Miss having him around here myself.
Max. You think he's dead, don't you?
There's nothing else I can think, Jenny.
But there were reports. They think that he might have survived. They think that somebody saw the chopper go down.
No one saw him walk away, though.
Why doesn't anybody believe it except me? They still have him reported missing in action.
Jenny, it has been 5 years. Do you think anything on earth could keep Barry away that long? If he was coming back, he'd be back by now.
No, it's funny, but that's almost exactly what Ryan Connor said. I'm not sure. I'm just not sure. If I were sure, maybe it would make a difference.
Jenny, you're not sure because you won't let yourself be. You need a man. I know that. But right now, you're hanging on to one who'll never be here to love you back. And the day you'll be sure is the day you let someone else fill the place that Barry left empty. In the family. And in your feelings.
I don't think I can do that.
You will. You can. When the time's right.
Well, it's not going to be anytime soon, that's for sure. Listen, I appreciate you worrying about me, but I don't even know Ryan. I mean, he hasn't said anything to me that would make me think that he's...
Jenny, Ryan, I'm not one to do another man's talking, but, he can take his chances. Now, as far as I'm concerned, I know where I stand. And I always have. And I don't figure that I can measure up against Barry. Surely not to his ghost. That's why I've kept my peace. But when it comes to the living, well, I reckon I'm as good as any man. Ryan Connor included.
Oh, Max, I didn't know.
Jenny, there's no need to go on talking about this. I just thought it might be time to mention it, that's all. Look, why don't you go on, finish your walk, or go back inside. I'll see you in the morning.
Night.
Good night.
But you're only kids with a mind to do everything wrong.
Well, Terry and Ricky, what a surprise.
Why is everyone so surprised to see me in Houston?
Well, I'm not surprised about that. Aren't you here for the Harris County stock car races?
Yeah, tomorrow. You remember.
Sure. You want a hot tip? Watch out for the first and the fourth curves. They're the killers. Oh, and keep an eye out on number 96 and number 12. They're the ones to beat.
You've really been reading up.
Sure have.
You sound like a bookie, Nita.
Oh, I've just been reading the papers. I'm hoping Billy Joe will be free to take me. I want to be there to see the win.
Is Elena around?
Yeah, how's she doing? She been helping pull her share of the load?
Oh, she's a real hard worker, but she's not working right now.
Why not?
Well, she came down with, some sort of a cold. I'll run up and tell her you're here. I'm sure she'll want to visit with you.
Are you okay now? You want to maybe change your mind? You still go back. It wouldn't bother me.
Not this time. Well, if Clipper wants to find me, he knows where to look.
We have a white wine here.
Well, will you look who's here? Now, if it isn't my favorite grown-up niece and my favorite speed demon nephew. Did Nita see y'all?
Oh, yes.
Well, then that girl must be on cloud nine. Do you know that every day this week I've had a complete report on the state of stock car racing in America? Oh, you really made a convert there, Rick.
She's a nice kid.
Oh, you're gonna have some cheering section at the race. Are you gonna go, Terry?
If I can get away from work.
Looks like you could stand a little while away from work or something.
Just tired.
Yeah. Well, is Max gonna be at the race too?
Max, he won't even admit the car's been invented. He can't forgive what it did to the horse market.
Well, now, at the risk of sounding unpopular.
Excuse me, have you a reservation, miss?
No, well, maybe I do. I'm here to see Mr. Wright.
Who?
The bar superintendent, Mr. Billy Joe Wright.
Oh.
Hey, Billy Joe, you didn't make me a reservation after all.
Elena, what are you doing here?
Well, you mean to tell me I got dressed up and snuck all the way up here and you're not glad to see me?
Listen, Dal, when I give an invite, I'll mean it. I just didn't think the old battle axe let you get out.
Well, surprise, surprise. Hey, don't you go talking about Aunt Maggie like that.
Hey, you know what you need? A drink. How about an old-fashioned? This ought to sweeten you up.
Oh, be serious.
Hey, it's on the house. Come on.
Billy Joe, I can't drink. I'm only 17. Now, you dump that out right now.
Waste good booze? Think all the sober people in China.
Billy Joe, I came up here to hear Paige Marshall sing, and that's all.
And here I thought you came to see me.
Not likely. Hey, I don't have to put on my heels to do that. I could see you at Maggie's every morning.
But not in my uniform. And not in my barroom, neither. Now, you tell me this ain't elegance, huh?
It sure is swanky, all right. It must cost a fortune if you pay. Boy, what I wouldn't do to sing in a place like this someday.
Well, stick with me and you might even be singing here.
Billy Joe.
Come on, I'll show you the spot you'll be standing on.
Maybe this time, for the first time, love won't hurry away. He will hold me fast. I'll be home at last. Not a loser anymore, like the last time and the time before. Everybody loves a winner, so nobody loved me. Lady peaceful, lady happy, that's what I long to be. All the odds are in my favor, something's bound to begin. It's gotta
want you to know this wasn't easy to come by.
What?
The key to Mike's River Oaks house.
Oh, thank you, Terry. What was the problem?
Bankruptcy court. The clerk insisted that one of his assistants had to go along to show the house. But when I explained who wanted to look at it, he became very reasonable. I think the word for it is obsequious.
Must be an election this fall.
Must be.
Anything urgent on my schedule today, Terry?
Nothing urgent.
Oh, that's good to hear. I'm meeting Iris this morning. We're going to spend the day together.
Oh, Clipper did ask to see you.
Not today, Terry.
Tell him. Would you mind if I took the afternoon off? My little brother is racing in the Devil's Invitational.
Ricky's a stock car racer?
Mm-hmm. I'd rather he did something a little more peaceful, like play the violin, but since he wants to race cars, I'd like to go cheer him on.
Of course. Wish him luck for me. He's a nice kid. I enjoy meeting him, even if his warning about Justin was disturbing. What do you think about that, Terry? Do you agree with Ricky?
That Justin is capable of trying to harm you?
Uh-huh.
I don't know. He is quick-tempered and spoiled. But I think once he cools down, once a little time passes, I think he'll start seeing things clearly again.
I must admit that my mind is on someone else altogether right now.
Iris?
Mm-hmm. Iris.
When hasn't it been?
Mm-hmm.
Ah, that feels good. You mean the sun? That same old sun you were complaining about a few weeks ago?
Nothing is the same as it was a few weeks ago. I think I'm even dreaming more since I've been in Houston.
Sweet dreams?
Who knows? I can't remember them after I've been up for a while. Some sweet, I'm sure, and some nervous.
Well, the antidote to an overactive dream life is lots of activity, like shopping to make you feel useful and productive. Now, I simply have to have new boots and a pair of good old American jeans. I am never, ever wearing my French blue jeans again, I swan. I mean, you try riding a horse in them and you'll see what I mean.
Rena.
Now, honey, we'll start downtown and I'll tell Beth not
Rena,
to bother.
listen
take
a
some lunch.
minute.
What?
I can't go shopping with you today. I'm sorry.
Oh, it's no fun shopping all alone.
Well, another day then. I promised Alex I'd meet him. He wants to help me make arrangements.
Arrangements?
For staying in Houston. And I am so scatterbrained about details that I really do need his help.
Iris, I really think that you ought to know.
Good morning, ladies.
Oh, hi, darling.
Oh, get up, Rita. Just leave it for the hospital.
Excuse me a second, honey. Darling, wait.
What is it, Rita?
Are you just gonna run off like that? Don't I get a goodbye kiss? Hey, didn't you read the fine print in our marriage contract? It says, and Rena gets a big kiss from Kevin every day on his way to work. So how about planting one of those big kisses on me?
Have I fulfilled all my duties?
If that was your job, you'd get fired.
Luckily, it isn't my job.
Oh, honey, do you really have to dash off to the hospital?
Yes.
What am I going to do all day? Iris is busy, too.
Well, Ren, I'm sure you'll think of something. You're so eager to come back here because Houston is such a lovely place to live. I'm sure you'll find a way to entertain yourself.
Oh, why, honey, I certainly will. I just thought that maybe you'd mind. For example, I spent nearly the entire day yesterday with my old beau, Justin Marshall. You remember Justin,
Yes,
don't
I've
you?
heard you mention him.
Well, I hope to get him a job at KVIK. And since he'll be working right here in town, I guess it's only natural that we'll be doing all sorts of things together. Yes, Justin and I will be seeing a great deal of one another now.
Rena, I really don't give a damn.
A normal man would.
Well, let me give you an alternative suggestion, huh? Since you're so pressed for a playmate, why don't you all go and play with that horsey you wanted so badly you made your daddy buy you?
That's just what I'll do, and I'll do anything else I want to, too.
Yeah. Iris, have a good day.
Just a family tradition, honey. Don't worry about it. Happens every morning. Always has. Kevin and I seem to need our morning tiff the way other people need their coffee, just to get their blood moving.
I am sorry. Rena, what was that you started to say out on the terrace? Something about Alex.
Oh, nothing. Iris, it really wasn't. It wasn't nothing.
A fairly dramatic nothing, wouldn't you say?
It wasn't nothing, but it wasn't anything either. I guess I was just worried that maybe Alex would give you some problems.
Seems a reasonable expectation.
Mm-hmm. But don't you think about it, okay?
You just told me to think about it.
Well, I was wrong. Maybe I was confused. Maybe I'm dreaming too much, too. Iris, what I really meant to say was that nothing, honey, lasts forever. So grab all the happiness you can. Really, just hold on to it. Tight, hold on to it. And good luck, honey. I hope you have better luck than I do.
Thank you, pretty thing. And I hope yours improves.
It can't do anything but. And now I'm going to change clothes, that is, and I'm going to drive out to the Marshall Ranch, and I'm going to ride 'em cowboy.
There.
Which one's that?
This goes to Mrs. Roger Clark on North Avenue.
Right. And that one over there?
I can't remember.
Let me look. Yo, children. Time to make some deliveries. Truck's all full up.
You got room for 2 more?
Take it in the cab you want.
Fine.
Nita, we surely do appreciate the help. You and Billy Joe have made the job a lot easier.
Oh, think nothing of it. I don't mind making a few extra bucks on my day off. Houston's a $10 town.
We're more than
fact.
happy to help. I know you guys have been going through some hard times.
Thanks, Nita. Well, you have it, Dennis?
What does it look like?
No.
You don't expect me to do all that work for love, do you?
Well, I would hope that you would try to help out some people.
Listen, there's an angel in every family, all right? It's a good thing I'm the practical one. Shoot, I ain't worked this hard since Huntsville prison.
Isn't it enough to get out of the restaurant and spend the whole day together?
It's a pretty small idea of fun, if you ask me. Doing all this sweating and straining.
Well, I guess you've had most of the hard stuff. But I know what we can do when we get out of this place. We can find ourselves some real entertainment.
Oh, yeah? Such as?
We could go to the Harris County stock car races. I know when the guy's driving.
Guys?
Oh, come on, not like that. You know him, too. Ricky Decker.
Now, wait a minute.
Besides, Elena really wants to see him race. We could go and we could take her with us.
Why not? that's what you want to do. You know I like to keep my baby happy, don't you, huh?
Joe! Oh, you make me happy, Billy Joe. You really do.
Of course I do. I got an idea, Nita. You want to hear it?
Yes, I think.
Well, seeing how Dennis and Dawn are gone, it'll take them at least a couple hours to deliver all that junk. Well, heck, why don't we take ourselves a little break?
What have we been doing?
No, you know what I mean, a real break. Did you notice?
Notice what?
Upstairs.
Well, what about it?
Beds, girl. They haven't delivered the beds yet.
Oh, no, Billy Joe, well, what if they came back for something?
What if they did?
Well, no, I don't think so, honey.
But I do. So you come with me, little girl. Come here. Come on. Someday, my dear, you're gonna have a house as big as this one and twice as pretty.
Don't need nothing but you, babe.
Mrs. Bellman? Oh, good. Thank you, Mickey. Hello, Justin, and how are you this morning?
Just fine, Vicky, and ready for a day's work. I feel like this is the start of something grand.
I hope so, too. Mickey, would you see that Justin fills out all the necessary forms at the personnel department? And when you're finished that, come back here.
Okay.
Meanwhile, I'll let your boss know that you're here and the two of you can discuss your first assignment.
That sounds fine. Thanks.
Mickey, will you have Sam drop by my office? Of course. That's Sam Walker, my sports producer. Autonomous, handles the whole line for me. I guess sports just isn't my calling.
I look forward to meeting him.
Sam is not going to like this at all.
And that, my stalwarts, is what you call baptism by fire.
I thought he was going to bleed to death.
No. When my colleagues and I developed the procedure, we discovered that the speed and cleanness more than compensated for the slight increase in initial trauma. Now, any more questions about the demonstration?
Yes, I have a question.
Well, the enthusiasm. If you people have places to be, I can always answer Dr. Marshall's question in private. Still a perfectionist.
Well, I want to make sure I understand.
Of course, that's why you're my best trainee. But aren't you a little afraid that you might become a little unpopular with your fellow trainees if you keep this pressure up?
My only concern is being the best surgeon I can be. Now, would you expect less?
From you, no.
Well, since I don't seem to win your approval any other way, I guess I at least want you to respect me professionally.
I respect you professionally. And in every other way, too.
You do?
I think you know that.
Then why don't I? I'm sorry. I know I promised I wouldn't bring that up again if you accepted me as a trainee. I'm sorry if I embarrassed you.
Courtney, our time together certainly doesn't embarrass me. I'll always treasure that moment. More than you'll know.
But?
But I'm married to Rena.
I can hardly forget that.
There are times when it would be easy for me to forget, but I just can't. At least we are here together, helping others, helping each other.
I thought it would be enough. I really did. But it's not. It's not.
Oh, there you are.
Hi, Bart.
I saw the others come out. I thought the session must be over.
Courtney had a question.
Did you get an answer? Good. I was hoping you were free since I'm driving out to the Marshall Ranch this afternoon to see your grandmother.
She isn't sick, is she?
No, I thought I'd talk to her about buying Western Art Gallery for my offices. You remember, we discussed it.
Yes.
Well, I thought you might like to ride out and take a visit, can you?
Oh, Bart, I'd love to go see Grandma, but I really can't take the time today. But thanks for asking, though.
Sure. Don't mention it. The routine is getting a little stale, isn't it? I always ask and you always say no.
So you're buying Western art to open a private practice, eh, Bart?
In part of the building, if I can swing it. As soon as I can set up my offices, I'll be leaving staff here.
I wish you luck.
I'll need more luck than I hoped, since I'll be setting up practice alone.
I'm sorry, Bart.
No need to be sorry. You took the surgical traineeship for good reasons, I'm sure. I wish you luck. I hope everything works out for you.
I really have no regrets of my choice.
I've come to ride my horse. Saddle him for me, please.
Saddle it yourself, lady. I ain't your slave. Saddle's right over there.
Do you know who you're talking to?
Well, now I could hardly forget, could I? After you picked that fight with me and wanted to get me fired. Hey, no sitting and starting up again. No harm done. I managed to stay on somehow. As foreman.
Then as a foreman, you can give me a hand with my horse. I bought it from Kate. He said I could stable it here.
Joy, I know. I feed and exercise it. That's my job. Some nights I even have a little heart-to-heart with it. So it won't get lonely. The rest, lady, is up to you.
My name is Rena Cook. Mrs. Cook.
Now, you do know how to saddle and bridle your horse, don't you, Rena?
Of course I do. Just get it for me.
Yes, ma'am. Oh, it was a little mare, wasn't it? Lady Gray?
That's right. The little mare.
come on. Easy. Yeah, come on. Come on. Easy. Come on. Get over here. Oh, that's the horse I'm talking to, by the way.
You're not as cute as you think. And that's you I'm talking to.
Oh, easy, girl. Easy now. Easy. Settle down.
You know, the stable boy usually does this for me.
Yeah, so I gather. Around here, we do things a little differently. Everybody on the Marshall Ranch, they pull their own weight.
I can understand how they can't afford amenities like keeping stable boys around.
Oh, it was a matter of choice before it ever became a necessity. Hey, now, that girth looks a little loose. Maybe you better let me tighten that up.
I know what I'm doing, thanks.
Whatever you say. Oh, easy. Come on, easy. Hey, settle down. Now, I told you that was too loose.
If there's one thing I can't stand is someone...
I ain't interested in what you can and can't stand. Now, you could have hurt that animal and yourself. Now, why are you so hard-headed that you can't take good advice?
Because I haven't heard any yet.
You can't even admit when you're wrong. You know what your problem is?
What? The fact that I'm not getting any cooperation?
The trouble with you is I bet your daddy never once applied his belt to do some good, huh? Yeah.
He certainly would not. Stryker would never hit me. Never did hit me. And never needed to either.
That I find hard to believe.
Well, you better start believing it, Buster. I always did whatever my daddy wanted me to do. Some nerve talking to me this way.
Well, I apologize. And that girth should be tight enough for you. Now you can try that. I still think I'm right, though. Too bad you want my little girl.
I've run away from home so fast and make your head spin.
Have a problem?
Yes. Hold my hat.
You are something else, Rita.
And you're less. My reins, please.
I bet you wouldn't have run away from home either.
Second button on your left.
Well, where am I? Now I know where I am, I think.
Welcome, my darling.
Alex, is this all right? Your chauffeur told me to come up this way, but I...
Come in, Iris. Of course it's all right. I just had my chauffeur put you in my private elevator, that's all.
Oh, private. I see.
It's, connects my suite with the parking garage. That way, my comings and goings won't all have to be public.
Of course. What a nice idea.
In fact, this is the key to my elevator. This is yours to keep. You can use it anytime you want. Keep it. Use it.
All right, thank you.
And I want you to come to me directly. Then you won't have to be bothered with lobby security or even letting Terry know.
Alex, where am I? I mean, your office is,
Next door.
And this is where you live?
Mm-hmm. When I built this building, I thought it was a good idea.
What, to live in the World Building as well as work here?
Well, until a short time ago, my life was my work. But all that changed the night at the opera. Changed completely. Yes. Would you like me to show you?
Alex, please, when Brian talked to you, before he left Houston, did he tell you I lied about there being difficulties with the divorce?
Well, he told me the divorce was final now.
Yes, final. It's all over.
Yes, and I'm glad it is. And now nothing can stand between us.
I'm sorry I lied. Really, I am. It's just that... Well, did Brian tell you about...
I'm not sure what you're asking.
Oh, I'm sorry. I just want to know what Brian told you.
Well, he told me that you had reservations about us, that the reservations would pass in time. He said that I shouldn't press you on them.
And you find that acceptable?
Whatever is acceptable to you is acceptable to me. I cherish your doubts and your sensitivities. The way I cherish your eyes and many precious moments that we've spent together.
Alex?
I want you to be comfortable with me. I want to persuade you that being with me in Houston is so wonderful that you'll never think of leaving again. So, my first step is, well, come with me. Let me surprise you.
Another surprise? I don't know if I want another surprise.
Don't worry. It's a nice one.
Well, yes, I'm sure it is. Where are we going now?
That's the surprise.
Well, I warned you, Alex. I didn't bring my deck shoes.
Well, they'll just have to be surprised on land.
I don't really know if I'm fond of surprises.
You'll like this one, I promise.
Mickey said you wanted to see me.
Oh, yes, dear. You know, darn these things. First I can't find them, and then I can't see through them. Sit down, Sam.
Okay.
I wanted to talk to you about the new man I'm hiring on for your department.
Oh, he's starting today.
Yes, he should be finished in personnel any minute.
Well, I am glad you're going to finally fill me in on my mystery man.
Sam, I know it's extraordinary that I hired him without... Well, anyway, his name is Justin Marshall.
Sounds familiar.
He's Mike Marshall's son.
Oh, of course.
Well, to make a long story short, he used to date Rena years ago.
And lived to tell about it? You must be quite a guy.
Well, actually, he's been living in Europe the last several years, but now, well, since Mike's death, he's come back. And he needs a job.
Oh, well, I'm glad you're going to help him, and I can understand why you hired him without my advice. I suppose he's been with one of the networks over there. It'll be nice to have somebody who has the European angle. I've been thinking that our staff is a little top-heavy with the football types. Which network?
Well, no. He hasn't been with a
Aunt
television.
Vicky. He's not a print journalist. They always mumble, and their faces are never right. Plus the fact, it's a very hard transition to make. Most of them can't do it.
Well, then you'll be happy to hear that he hasn't any journalistic experience at all.
This is a joke. You wouldn't hire a novice for a major market like Houston.
Normally, no.
But... You actually did hire him. Why?
Well, he does know a lot about sports.
Well, so does my brother Bart, but I'm not going to have him cover sports on camera. Why, Aunt Vicky?
Well, look, Sam, as I said before, he's an old friend of Rena's.
That's a reason?
Sam, do it for me. Work with him, train him, please. He might turn out very well.
Just because he's an old friend of Rena's?
I'd hoped you'd accept this as a request, so I wouldn't be forced to...
Aunt Vicky, I accept your request because I love you a lot, and I'll do anything you ask me to do.
Good. Thank you, Sam.
I'll do what you ask me to do, but I'd appreciate it if you would explain to me why you're doing such an unprofessional thing. I mean, if Justin Marshall had worked in television or journalism, for heaven's sakes, but Rena must be out of her tree to demand that we take him on for old time's sake. I mean, she has absolutely no right to come in here and demand that we do that. And I'm astonished that you have let her...
All right, Sam. All right. Now, I understand how and why you feel the way you do. I thought you would.
Aunt Vicky, that's all the more
Now, I
reason to...
understand how you feel. Now, you have to understand that I wouldn't be doing this if there weren't extenuating circumstances, which I just can't explain right now. Come in. Well, all finished at personnel?
All signed up.
Good. I'd like you to meet your supervisor, my best sports producer, Sam Walker. Sam, this is Justin Marshall.
Sam?
Samantha. Aunt Vicky, we'll go to work right now, if that's really what you want. But I'd love to continue this conversation at your earliest convenience.
Would you like to tell me where we're going?
I'd like to tell you where to go, but I always do what my Aunt Vicky says do.
I'm glad. You're a wonderful niece.
Oh, can it if I had my choice?
You'd put me on that road. Sam! What's your problem with me?
That's a good question.
No, I'm serious. I needed a job. I like this one. Sports is my thing. You seem to think I've done you dirt.
Look, I'm used to hiring my own people. I don't like a new reporter pushed into the middle of my operation, especially when...
Especially when? What? If we're gonna get along, we have to clear the air.
All right. Okay. Especially when the only reason I got saddled with you in the first place is because you're an old flame of Rena's.
That flame burned out a long time ago.
Look, I couldn't care less. If I piled all of Rena's old flames in a heap, it'd look like the Chicago fire. But that does not entitle you to a job in my operation.
Things weren't quite that simple.
Okay, all right. Where have you worked? Where have you done sports? Newspaper? Radio?
I've never done this.
Uh-huh, okay. So here you come, Mr. Sports Reporter. I have kids who have worked years and never even seen the other side of a camera.
I'm not a kid.
No, you're not. You're my new sports reporter. Come on.
You're really hung up on this. You're not going to let it go.
I'm not going to bug you. At least not if you can do your job. But it really hits me hard. There goes Rena, flitting from place to place, remaking everyone's world. So good when she was out of Houston. Or maybe you didn't think so.
I wasn't here. I haven't been here in a long time.
Well, welcome back to Rena's playpen. Come on.
What are we going to do?
Oh, didn't I tell you? You are going to narrate the Harris County stock car races.
You're kidding.
Oh, no, that's the first one out of the bag for you, Mr. Sports Reporter. But I'm sure you know everything there is to know about auto racing.
Well, nobody knows everything.
I just bet they know. Are you ready?
What can I say, boss? I guess I'll just have to do my very best.
Thank you, Jack. Would you wait for us in the car, please?
There's no one here. Jack, there's nothing here at all. This is an empty house, Alex.
There's music.
Why did you bring me to an empty house?
Well, I was thinking about buying it, and I wanted your opinion.
Oh,
You like it?
well, if you were going to live here, I'd recommend some redecoration, but yes, it's a lovely house. Oh, it must be worth a fortune.
You mean it?
I'm sure you know it's worth a fortune.
No. I mean, do you like it?
I adore it. Oh, those windows. Yes, it's truly a lovely house.
Good. I want to give it to you.
What?
Well, you can't live with Mina Cook forever.
Well, of course not, but...
You need a house, one that's worthy of you.
I need a place, yes, but I couldn't accept such a magnificent gift, Alex.
Yes, you
Really?
could. Yes, you could. Why couldn't you?
Because
Iris, since we talked on my yacht that day, I've been trying to think of a way to show you that I will never leave you again, that you can trust me. That the boy that couldn't face up to his lies 25 years ago is the same man who loved you then.
Alex.
With this house, I want to be a permanent part of your life from now on. Please, say you'll trust me. Accept my gift.
Yes. What are you doing here? Mr. Wheeler, what are you doing in my father's house?